These are the activities for lesson 1. We're going to subtract 12 from both sides. That will leave us with x on the left side and negative 3 on the right side. In the next equation, we want to add 6 to both sides, leaving us with x on the left side and negative 14 on the right side. The next equation, we have negative 3 times a, and so we'll divide both sides of the equation by negative 3, leaving us with a equals a positive 5. In D, we are first going to add 5 to both sides, and then we'll have 3x equals negative 30. We'll now divide both sides by 3. You get x equals 10, negative 10. In E, we first want to recopy the problem so we have a place to work. And then we're going to subtract 9.6 from both sides. That will leave us with a negative 5.4 and a negative 2.4a. We'll now divide both sides by negative 2.4, leaving us with a equals 5.4 over negative 2.4. This isn't simplified because we have a decimal inside the fraction. To eliminate the decimal, we can multiply the top and bottom by 10. That will give us 54 over negative 24, which can be further simplified because both have a factor of 9 in them. Both have a factor of 6 in them, leaving us with negative 9/4 a. In the next problem, we add 6 to both sides. So we have 4x is equal to negative 2. Divide both sides by 4, leaving with x equal negative 1/2. G, H, and I are all related. We're going to multiply 6 in both sides by 6 in this problem. Get negative x equals 72. We're solving for x, so now we can divide both sides by negative 1. And we'll be left with x equals negative 72. In the next problem, h, we're going to multiply both sides by negative 6. And we get x equals negative 72. And the final problem shows us one other place to keep that we can have the negative sign. If we have the negative sign out front, we can still multiply both sides by 6, and now we'll have negative x equals 72, which is similar to the problem G above. And now multiplying both sides by negative 1, we get x equals negative 72. The same idea is here in J, where we have negative d equals 7. Multiplying both sides by a negative 1, we'll now have d equals negative 7. In K, we can do the idea of clearing the fractions. To clear fractions from a problem, we're going to multiply both sides by all the denominators. In this case, that'll be a 3. So we carefully have to distribute the 3 on the left side, giving us negative 18 minus 3 times the fraction 2x over 3 equals 24. The 3's cancel now in that fraction, so we'll have negative 18 minus 2x equals 24. We can add 18 to both sides, which gives us negative 2x equals 42, and divide both sides by negative 2. X equals 21, negative 21. In the next problem, we distribute the 5. We get 15a plus 45 equals negative 2. Now subtract 45 from both sides. We get 15a is equal to negative 47. And finally, we can divide both sides by 15, which will give us negative 47 over 15. In M, we want to collect all the like terms, so we can add 3x to both sides, getting the x's together. We have 6x minus 5 equals 13. Now add 5 to both sides. We get 6x is equal to 18. And then finally divide both sides by 6 to get x equals 3. In the next problem, again, we're going to distribute, this time distributing a negative 3 to start with. So we have 5 minus negative b plus 12 plus 8 equals 21. Now let's collect some like terms. We can add together the 12 and 8 to give us 20. In the next step, we can add the 5 and 20, giving us 25 minus 3b equals 21. Subtract 25 from both sides to move it. We get negative b is equal to negative 4, or b is equal to 4/3. The next equation, we again can clear the fraction by multiplying both sides by the denominator. The denominator is 2. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. Again, on the left side, we have to distribute the 2 to both terms. So we have 2 times our fraction 3x plus 9 over 2. And we'll distribute the 2 to the 4, so we have 4 times 2. So these 2's in the fraction cancel. We get 3x plus 9 minus 8 equals 2. We can combine the 9 and the minus 8 to give us a positive 1, and then subtract 1 from both sides. And now we'll divide both sides by 3. In the next question, again, we'll clear the fraction by multiplying both sides by the denominator 2. And again, we will distribute the 2 to both terms. Now we can cancel the 2 in the fraction, leaving us 3x plus 9 minus 8. And we're left with 2x. We're going to collect all of our like terms, so we're moving the 3x to the other side. And we're left with a negative x over there. And so we want to solve for x, multiply both sides by negative 1, and we get x equals negative 1. In Q, we're going to distribute the negative sign to start with, and then combine our like terms. So we are going to move the 18 to the other side, so I'll add 18 to both sides. That leaves us with negative x is equal to x plus 4. We can now subtract x from both sides. We get negative 2x equals 4. And finally divide both sides by a negative 2, leaving us with x equals negative 2. We have problem R, which we may need to copy again in order to work on it. We have point 2, we're going to distribute out first. So point 2 times t, and then we're going to have point 2 times 20, which will give us 4, is equal to 4/10 plus t. Again, we want to combine our like terms, so I'm subtracting t from both sides, which leaves me with a negative 0.8t plus 4 equals 0.4. Now we'll subtract 4 from both sides, leaving us with negative 0.8t equals negative 3.6. Now, dividing both sides by negative 0.8, we will have t is equal to 3.6 over 8. That becomes positive because we're dividing two negatives. We can use the same trick we used in the previous problem, multiplying both the top and bottom by 10, and we get 36 over 8, which then can be simplified to 9/2. The last problem in the activities, we're given an equation. We can use this equation, or we see the graph of this equation, and we're going to use the graph to solve A, B, and C. In A, we're seeing that y is actually equal to 5. So In order to find the x value that satisfies this equation, we're going to look at our graph. We find the point where y is 5, and then we can read off what x is. X equals negative 2.8 or so. In the next one, we have y equals negative 1. Again, we're going to use our line to find where y is negative 1 and read off the x value, which appears to be about 5.2. In C, we have y equals 3. So we find the point on the line where y is 3. And we find the x value. X is approximately 0. And in the last one, we find the point on the line where y is equal to 0 and find the x value. For this one, x is about 4. That's the end of the lesson.